get married, have children, find a career, work the career, have grandchildren, help support and raise the grandchildren, and die. That's the outline of success according to cultural norms. That's the outline. Once I have graduated from college, I've found a career, I found a man to love me, and I've had the children, I should now be fulfilled. I should now be happy because these are all the things that you're supposed to strive for. You're supposed to then be content with your life forever until you perish. That's the outline. But what happens if you suddenly find yourself unhappy, even though you have all the things that society tells you you should want, that you should work for? What if you're unhappy then? A compass is a tool that gives you direction. It guides your direction so that you end up in the destination of where you're heading, of where you desire to be. But what if your compass is broken? I was 37 years old when I discovered that my compass was broken. Though I suspected all along that something was wrong with me and the life that I was living, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know my compass was broken until April 9th, 2018. It was a normal day. I went to work. I picked my children up from school. We were having dinner, and I got a phone call from my mother. There is nothing unordinary about that. I talk to my mother every day. But this phone call changed my life dramatically. I answered the phone with a mouthful of food, and my mom was screaming in the phone that my cousin was dead, that they couldn't wake him up. He was gone. And I was so confused. I just saw him. This was on a Monday. I saw him Sunday. What are you talking about? He's dead. And I didn't believe or want to believe that this was true. He was my best friend. He was my beloved. He was my soulmate. He and I, we shared everything. And our lives were so parallel. What do you mean he's gone? And little did I know, his death was going to be my awakening. There's something painfully obvious about death that makes us aware that we're alive. And after his passing, I spent the next year really contemplating my life, contemplating my happiness, contemplating passion. Now, that's a word that people don't say often enough about you becoming an adult, about finding something you're passionate about. The word love is used so often. And I had so many things that I loved, and I had so many people that I loved. But where was my passion? Where was it? How come I didn't know? Why is it now at the age of 37 that now I am questioning, where is my passion? What is it? What am I passionate about? It was because in the moment of my worst, that is what awakened me. That's how I discovered that my compass was broken. For the next year, I just journaled because something now in me was missing. And I thought at first that it was my cousin that was missing, that I was missing the conversations, that I was missing the camaraderie that we had. And I realized that yes, I did miss him, but now I was aware that I had not been alive for 37 years, that I had only existed. I was on this assembly line of life, this outline of what life should be. And I could not stay on the assembly line. It was time to get off the assembly line. I was ready to live. I was tired of existing. For 1,440 minutes every day, I existed. And I couldn't spend one more moment existing, because now I was aware that life can change in an instant. And while I knew it, I had never truly felt it until that moment. So I ask you, are you existing in life, or are you living your life? And if you are existing, how long do you plan to exist before you give yourself an opportunity to live? My cousin knew about living. He believed in living every moment to the fullest. He had both a job he loved and a career that he built for himself that he was passionate about. I felt as though his passing was a torch being passed to me, that maybe somehow he knew I was going to end up in this moment. So now I'm painfully aware that my compass is broken. I'm on this assembly line. There were 3 things that I had to do for me. These are 3 things that I think that you can do for yourself if you find yourself just merely existing every single day. Number 1, now that I know I'm on this assembly line, it's time to get off. And that sounds scary, because maybe like me, you have a job that you don't hate, that provides a great living for your family. You have a retirement plan. You have these plans that have become a part of the outline of life. But getting off the assembly line does not mean that you're giving up everything that you love for something you're passionate about, because those 2 things can exist at the same time. You can both love something or someone and also be passionate about something else. So I had to get off the assembly line. Sometimes in manufacturing, you have to stop production because something isn't working. And my life was not working for me. So I got off the assembly line of just feeling like this is what life was all about, that this is what I had to do. I simply had to get up, get my children ready, go to work, come home, rinse, recycle, repeat. I didn't have to do that. So I got off the assembly line and I realized, you know what? I love teaching. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful career, but maybe I'm not meant to do this forever. Maybe this is not the career that I'm meant to retire from. So I got off the assembly line. Now my compass is broken, so it's not giving me direction. I had to go within me and think about me, which sounds very selfish when you say it out loud, but it's not selfish. Why shouldn't you think about you? Thinking about you doesn't mean that you're neglecting or negating any other responsibilities or people. Thinking about you means that you are choosing you. And if you don't choose you for your team, why should anyone else choose you for their team? So 1, get off the assembly line. Number 2, find that passion. Find that fire within you. Find that thing that you just absolutely love. Now, I cannot tell you a lie right now and say that that was something that just came to me easily, because honestly it didn't. I spent a year soul searching, trying to figure out what it was that I was passionate about. And I'm gonna tell you how I found out what I was passionate about. I asked myself a very hard question, because it involved really thinking and being honest with myself. If I could do anything in this world and money was not an issue, what would I do? Well, there are many things that I would do. So then it goes into, you're doing this thing that you love, but you keep having bad days. Are you going to continue doing it? Now that's a great question. So you're doing this thing that you love, but people don't understand it. People are always questioning it. Are you going to continue doing it? Those were the questions that I had to answer for myself. And what I discovered in my answers is that I am passionate about helping people. It sounds simple, but I promise you it's so complex, because when you have a passion and you encounter hardships, it often is hurtful and it's disappointing in a way that other things just aren't. Yet that fire continued to burn. That's how I knew that was one of my passions. That's exactly how I knew, because that fire was still in me. Good days, bad days, and everything in between, I still had that fire. I had that fire. That was my passion. And I was reminded of my cousin who was a DJ and how much he loved being a DJ. Even with a fever of 102 when he had the flu, he was still out working, because that fire inside of him did not allow him to just sit back, just lay down. That was that fire. So I'm asking you, what is that fire that's burning inside of you? Even if no one else understands it, even on bad days, what is that fire? You have to find your passion. That's a key to living your life and not just existing. The third thing that I had to do to make the changes that are necessary, I had to then accept the fact that everyone is not going to understand what I'm doing. Everyone is not going to understand, and I had to be okay with that. This is a difficult one as well, because how hurtful is it when you, let's just say you go and get a new haircut. And it's a haircut that you saw in pictures, you saw it on other people, and you loved it. You go, you get it, your barber, your stylist gives you exactly what it is that you asked for. And then you go to your loved ones and they don't like it. They don't understand why you didn't like your hair the way it was previously, because it was completely fine. That's what it's like when you journey off into finding something more for your life than just existing. Everyone is not going to understand, and everyone doesn't need to understand. Having people question you is what gives you that resilience to continue on the path. That's what gives you the resilience. So when I decided to start a business, not realizing that I had been in business for many years and I just wasn't calling it a business. Wikipedia defines a business as any entity that is started to make profit. So I guess at this point, I considered myself starting a business because I was entering into it to make profit. But I was also entering into it because I wanted to help people, because that was my passion. And when I said this to my family members, immediate family members, they had question marks all above their heads. No one understood. You're a teacher. Teachers have great benefits. You're going to have a retirement plan. Your schedule is wonderful. Everybody needs a teacher, and that is true. Everybody does need a teacher. But what I had to explain was me going after this passion didn't mean that I was giving up everything that I love. It's okay to have both love and passion, and they not exist within the same thing. You love your mother and father and your siblings, but are you passionate about them? Probably not. You love your sibling, and you don't want anybody to hurt him or her, but you're not passionate about that person. Now your spouse you're probably pretty passionate about, and you also love. And you see, the two can coexist. And once I learned that, I freed myself from the assembly line of merely existing in life. And I didn't care that my compass had been broken for so many years, because once I took the magnets off of me of being stuck to the outline of what life was supposed to be, guess what? My compass started working. As long as I was stuck to the outline of what I felt like I was supposed to be doing versus what I really felt inside of my heart, my soul, and my spirit, I was then happy. I was then living. And living is a great thing. There's nothing wrong with living. There's this cliche saying of YOLO, you only live once. I don't believe that. You live every day. You live every single day for 1,440 minutes. So, if you're going to be living every day, I want you to live your life with passion. I want you to get off the assembly line of who society thinks you should be and what you should be doing, and be who you are.